Pretty good senior class departing from the Big Ten this year, fellas, but we all know that solid college careers don't necessarily translate to success at the next level. Okay, Evan Turner wasn't a senior when he left last year, but he was the player of the year in basically everybody's mind. He hasn't made a huge impact in his rookie year in the NBA. So I pose the question to you guys. Which current Big Ten senior hoping to get drafted this summer in the NBA draft has the most immediate impact at the next level?
Yeah, it's so hard to say right now because the NBA all matters on what team you go to, how do you fit in. But if I had to choose a guy, I would be hard-pressed to take anyone besides Taylor Battle. I mean, he has been so good 4 years there in Happy Valley, and I think he'd be even better, guys, if he had better talent around him. When he was at Penn State, kind of had to do things by himself basically for 4 years.
Yeah, I agree with that, Doyle. This one might surprise a couple of people, but I'm going to go with David Lighty from Ohio State.
Oh, I love that choice.
And the reason why is because throughout his career, what has he done? He's basically done whatever his coach has asked him to do. He's a guy that pushes the tempo up and down the court. You know who I compare him to? I'm going to compare him to a Ron Artest without the baggage, of course. Defensive stalwart, but a guy that can go out there and knock down a big shot when you need him to. He's not going to be the guy that's going to score 20, 25 points, but he's going to do whatever a coach asks him to do.
I love that. She's got nice size, physical.
I think Aaron Aflalo, a good defender. He's about 6'5". Ron Artest is about 6'7", 6'8", and completely out of his mind. I think David Lighty, he seems a little bit more down
without
to
the
earth.
baggage.
All right, fair enough. Aflalo, that's a tough name to say. That's pretty well done. A lot of vowels in there, consonants very close together.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, let's switch. Who needs time? Which guy gets into the league but needs a little bit of time to develop? A guy that needs to figure out exactly how to translate his game from college to the pros.
See, for some of the same reasons that you mentioned, Taylor Battle, Tim, I'm going to go with Taylor Battle. I think the fact that he was basically a one-man show in Penn State, and the fact that he had to do all the scoring. Remember, at the NBA, he's got to do a lot of distributing as well. So I think if he can get in there, and like you said, Timmy, get with the right team, get with the right supporting cast, where he can start to become a little bit more of a disher and not just a scorer, he could be great.
See, I think he has that ability. When he played with the USA team, he shot over 55%. I think when he's at Penn State, he was forced to do so many things. There's a guy that I think needs to expand his game. It's JaJuan Johnson. I think he has a tremendous upside, but things he needs to work on. He needs to work on, obviously, his strength. You see his string being arms there. I think his agility could always get better. He has an ability to make tough shots. I think that's what makes him so good at the college level. But when you're a big guy like that, he's going to have to learn how to pass the ball. He's not a great passer, but a guy I see him becoming at the next level is maybe a Channing Frye. They step out, bang home that three. Yeah, he has a lot of ability.
Yeah, we might have happened to run into Channing Frye at the celebratory dinner before the last taping of the Pulse. I'm just saying, pretty good to see old Channing when the Suns were in town to play the Bulls. You know, one of the interesting things about this discussion, guys, is the collective bargaining agreement with the NBA. Yeah. Will they even have a season this coming year? Will these guys be locked out in their rookie years? And as our analysts tell us, guys who used to play in the NBA, sometimes it's better to go undrafted as opposed to being taken late in the second round, because then, to your point, Timmy, you get to choose what team fits your makeup a little bit better.
If you don't go in the first round, then you want to become a free agent because then you kind of go there. And a pretty great example of that is Wesley Matthews. He ends up making a lot of money in his second year because he was undrafted. But a guy who maybe didn't help his chances in March was John Lure. I thought he struggled in the tournament. Here's a guy who loves to go right. I think that's what he's going to have to learn how to do, is go to his left hand. But at 6'10", he has the ability to play at that next level. I just think he needs to polish up his game more. I think sometimes he relies too much on the perimeter.
This one may not be too much of a surprise, but I'm going to go with Dimitri McKamey. Started his season really well. Back-to-back games at Texas and at home against Maryland. Went for 22 and 20. A couple weeks later, went for 30 against Oakland. And in his last 16 games, he was only over 20 points one time. He's a guy that we all thought was going to be a scorer, and he probably hurt his chances a little bit towards the second half of the season.
I know you disagree with this. I've been saying it all year long. I think his combination of passing ability and size will make him a very good pro.
He'll never play one day in the NBA. He'll never play one day in the NBA.
It's pretty strong statement. Well, on the flip side then, who's going to have the best NBA career of the outgoing Big Ten seniors?
See, he was talking about JaJuan Johnson needing some work. I think JaJuan Johnson could end up having the best NBA career. Now, I'm going to make this comparison, and don't take this one right off the cuff, but how about a Kevin Garnett? A guy that's about 6'11". Kevin Garnett's a little bit bigger, but you're talking similar styles. A guy that wants to shoot the basketball. He's not one that wants to post up. Now, granted, he's got a lot of years before he can be a Kevin Garnett
a first ballot Hall of Famer?
He is, but who's to say JaJuan Johnson can't get his game going like that?
I got to go back to Taylor Battle. I wrote down some names. I think
crush.
Golly.
He could be an Aaron Brooks type. He could be a Derek Fisher type. Make big shots. I also think he can play the one, but what you can't teach guys that are going to play at the next level is that guile, that toughness that Taylor Battle's been through. He's been through a lot there in Happy Valley, and I think when you put him around better players, you just never know. You know this. You played in the league. It's all a matter of what team you go to, no matter what sport you're in.
Absolutely. Can't agree more.